Welcome to Kung Fu Havoc number 2. So we're going to do part 3 of this martial arts stuff. I'm going to bring out these commas. In the first half of this video, I'm going to demonstrate commas and I'm going to explain how commas work. Granted, these are wooden practice commas. No one's going to get hurt. Actually, that's a misconception. You can beat the shit out of somebody with practice weapons too. Anybody who's a true martial artist, anything that you touch, if it's a practice weapon or a real weapon, it is still a weapon. That makes it just as dangerous as the real McCoy. Keep that in mind. Something else that they're probably not going to tell you when you sign up to get kicked in the face. Alright? And no one signs up to get kicked in the face. Shit just happens. So commas. They're blades. They're dangerous. They're for gouging and cutting. They were probably garden tools in China. The ninja honed it and made it a weapon. So if you're taking ninjutsu, you will learn commas. If you're taking the right ninjutsu or real ninjutsu, you're going to learn the art of the katana. You're going to learn the art of the sai. You're going to learn the art of commas. You're going to learn the art of the ball and chain or the mace. You're going to learn a lot of different weapons because a ninja is a walking, living testimony of weapons. The problem is the ninja only use the weapons as tools. The real skills is in their art of silence, invisibility, and stealth, as well as precision targeting, i.e. what the fuck you think throwing stars are for. Alright? Now, you gotta learn commas. Commas are also used in Chinese Kung Fu, depending on which Chinese Kung Fu style you are using. Because before they were ninja weapons, they were garden tools. They were used to fight bandits who would try to rob crops and other things like that, as according to one of the legends that I have been told. Remember that every myth and legend has some truth to it, and that's the legend that I've been told. But for the sake of fighting, commas are close-range weapons. That's something you need to be very much aware of. That there is something you're not going to do. See how close my hand is to that blade? Real comma blade probably would have sliced my shit right off. So, your traditional commas. High block and strike. So, boom. So I can gouge. Medium. Low. Medium with knee. High block. There you go. Medium. Low. Medium with knee. You've seen this before. So we don't have to go too deep into that, because I know you guys are getting tired of me not doing something fucking new. So, when you're going to fight with commas, you are going to have to train your hands to be equally proficient. Both hands must be utilized when using commas. And you can have a strong right and a weak left, and your left will still compensate, and your right will still compensate depending on which one you are using. The difference maker is you don't want to lose your hand while using commas. So when you're striking, you want to gouge quickly. These are lightweight weapons, not these because these are heavy because they're practice weapons. But they also build strength, so when you have the light weapon in your hand, you will have more dexterity and control of your comma. You will never do that in a fight. I just did that because I felt like it. Now the thing about commas is that when you are fighting with these some bitches, you do have to get in close. There is no ifs, there is no ands, there is no buts. Alright? A comma is a short-range weapon. It is not a joke, it is not to be toyed with, it is not for you to sleep on. So if you have commas, boom, 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 you are in close. You are not all the way out here. They might be at some point at some time. So you're blocking and you're striking. Or if you're up here in the small commas, because they come in many different sizes. My actual commas are way shorter than these things. But they also have commas that are shorter than this. So they come in many different sizes. Kid commas specifically are designed for your kid hands. But they also started making commas smaller, so when they started putting a loop on it, that you can roll them with the ropes, so that you can also do some shit like this. But I don't recommend that shit because you're playing with blades that can gouge and take off your fucking hand. So you don't want to do that. You're going to fight with commas, you want to keep these bitches blades away from you at all times. Blades this way, blades that way. If you're coming this way to cross, that's fine. You're going to block, that's fine. But you don't want them things turned in this way. And trying to do that, it can very well end your life because you might fuck up. You don't want to do anything like this because that can happen. You lost a thumb. Yeah, you're going to do shit that's going to wind up fucking your shit up. And you don't want to do that because, when kamas first came out, there weren't a lot of hospitals. There weren't a lot of stitching thumbs and shit back together. So, you gotta understand, block, gouge, or better, block, gouge, gouge, or better, block, strike. So you just blocked it, you hit here, you've rotated the blade, and you've come up. Alright? So when it goes boom, boom, it's because you're blocking. You punch somebody who's throwing a front kick. Boom, boom. Now, all that was is a simple. They're throwing this kick, front kick. You've blocked it. Now you could just stick it right on in there because they're already throwing the kick. And you can just go right into their shin. Because basically these things are like little axes. So, it's like he's throwing a front kick. Boom. You just stabbed him in his damn leg. And now this is in his leg. Goom, goom, goom. You've got him all the fuck up. Then you pull the shit back out. So you have to understand that you have to be durable with both of them. I would have cut off my own arm. So you're not going to do a bunch of this shit. That's not going to happen with real kamas because this shit right here is going to cut your fucking hand clean the fuck off. So they're throwing an axe kick. This is an axe kick. Excuse me, that's not an axe kick. That's an outside crescent kick. I'm going from the inside to outside. Now, what I meant to say, this is an axe kick, which is a straight up and down mixture. It's getting harder for me to do those because of my hip, but there you go. They're throwing an axe kick. Simplest way to do anything is to dare to block it. You want to catch it right here. So then you can just break it right apart. And you will, because you've axe blocked it, and you just disemboweled their leg. Alright? Now, they're throwing a crescent kick inside to outside, which was the kick that I mistakenly said was an axe kick, which is this. So you want to bat it away, strike, strike. Understand? So they kicked, and you bat it away, and you're going across the gut. Alright? Now, if you get stuck clum, you turn and come up. That person is pretty much dead. Alright? Now, let's say they're throwing that same crescent kick, and you shoot. Now, you've cut their leg, and you've cut their gut. So, they were doing this, and you were doing this. Alright? Now, let's say they're coming down, so you decide to block, bump, then do this, and do that. Don't do that shit. You block, and then you just slice. Just cut right into their shit. So, they're coming down, you've blocked it, and then you're sticking it right into there, and then you're just ripping. And that's pretty much the gist of that. So when you are fighting with these things, you have to understand that these things are not just dangerous to you. They're dangerous to your opponent. They're more dangerous to your opponent than they are to you, as long as you're not doing this kind of shit. Watch carefully. See how that went over there? That would have been my arm, but I still have this one. So you don't want to do that. So block, slice, slice, not block, and do that. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. And it's more than likely going to happen in the worst possible way, and you're going to wind up cutting off your fucking hand. So, block, slice, slice, rip, versus block, spin, and slice. You want to do that spin shit, this here, and if you can get blessed to not get cut off, I'm not going to stop you, but you heard it from me first, don't do that shit. So you strike, that there, it's going to cost you in battle. Versus rip, block, stab, stab in, rip out, block, stab, come back, double gut, slice, these are close-quarter combat. So when you're using fucking kamas, you're not gonna really be holding it this way. There is a form where you can do it this way. I don't recommend it. I recommend that you keep that shit this way, specifically this way. Boom, 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 boom. That way you'll have the ability to know where that blade is at all times, versus having this form where you're coming up, which is a good cut, and another cut, but not so good for blocking. So if somebody's coming down, bing, boom. If you miss with this block or this block, and they cut down your arm, you will be armless. You'll be armless. Dabba dabba dee, dabba dabba da. then you're probably going to bleed the fuck out right on the battlefield. As many of martial artists can tell you, many soldiers and many legends have bled the fuck out even after doing heroic feats because they did some stupid shit like this. Boom, boom, boom. See there? And you see where it's at? That'd have been my whole arm gone. When it comes through, when it came through just like that, it would have cut my shit clean off. Alright? And even that was dangerous because I still land at the blade. So you don't want to do that. Now, for the sake of arguments, we're going to turn these things into tonfas. They are not tonfas, but they can be simulated as tonfas until I actually buy a pair of fucking tonfas. Right now I don't have any money, so I won't be buying any tonfas. And no, I don't want to go GoFundMe man or all that other bullshit. I will fucking bust my ass and get some fucking tonfas. Alright, so if you are a police, you will be familiar with this. If you are not a police officer, you will not be familiar with this. If you are a person who has been on Kung Fu Havoc number 2 more than one time, you have seen me use these commas as tonfas. Alright, so you know the basics. Block, 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 block with the knee, block with the knee. You know the basics. You also know punch and spin out, punch and spin from in. You know that shit. Alright, so we got that down pat because that's what you're going to see. Now here's the thing. When you're fighting with tonfas, the only damn thing that the tonfa really does have is the ability to strike at close range. It is not a long range weapon just like kamas, just like the sai, just like the nishi sai, just like the tanto and the smaller katana. They are short range weapons, and short range weapons means handle with care because you need to handle yourself with care. That's all the range you got. But you probably can't see because of these freaking messages that keep popping up on my freaking computer. No, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Alright, so if you understand that is your short range, outside to inside, is better than what I just did. Alright, so this jab, and from the outside, I'm going that way. And from the inside, I'm going that way. Now, if my arm hasn't fully extended and I try to extend this, there's a good chance that I'm going to hit a rib. And I'm going to cause myself some damage, and we don't want to do this. We want boom, boom. Or we want boom and boom. You have to fully extend that arm when you're using tonfas. Because if you don't, you're going to chicken wing the shit out of yourself, and it's going to be a fucking problem. Especially if you like throw a full powered swing out. See how I hit myself there? That shit's going to hurt. It's better for me, and I'm only going to say this for me. Other tonfa experts will disagree, but I'm not. I'm going to tell you this. This and this is safer than this and this. And that's just my personal opinion. You do not have to agree with it, but I'm going to tell you right now. Boom. If he's right there, boom, yeah, okay. That may work out. But I don't intend on letting him get that close. Boom, boom. Understand? When I jab him, I'm going to come back. So it's basically like throwing 2 punches at once. Because boom, and then you did this. Now, if you want to throw a kick in there, boom, boom. You want to send him in the direction of where you want to kick. A lot of you don't understand how that works in a fight. Alright? So let me demonstrate. Guys running at me, I'm going to inside, outside, crescent kick him to this direction so that I can use this fucking damn kama, aka tonfa. So he's coming, boom! I sent him in that direction. Now my arm was not set up the way it should have been, because it should have been right here, but it wasn't. So I already did the crescent kick, bam! Now I sent him to where the tonfa is going to be. So let's try it the correct way now. So crescent kick, boom! There, that looks a little better. Now, somebody who can do it up to speed would be able to show this to you a lot better. My legs are fucked, but I'm still going to show you. Let's say I want to set him up for a knee. He's coming at me. Boom! I've hit him with this. Bam! I hit him over the top. And now I'm bringing the knee in. Alright? And the reason for that is, he's pretty much done when I hit him with this fucking tonfa. Especially when I just throw a straight jab. Because this will actually have like at least 3 or 4 more inches than this kama actually has. So when I jab him with that kama, he's already hurt. He's been hit with a piece of fucking wood. is at least the thickness of at least a little bit bigger than a nickel or a quarter, and some tapas are square versus circle. So, boom, if I got a square one and I thrust that square into his gut, and he bends over, crack! I done cracked him upside the back of his dome. Alright? As I've cracked him upside the back of his dome, I've set him up to where I can bring my knee to fucking end this shit. Because I don't have all goddamn day. Alright? Now, the thing with tapas, they work great with boxing positions. If you're going to be left-handed and you're going to throw jabs, or if you're going to be right-handed, rather, because this is the standard, yeah, throwing your jabs, boom, 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 you know. Because if you're jabbing him, boom, boom. If he falls towards the inside, boom. If he falls towards the outside, boom. And that's kind of how that works. So now if you're doing Wing Chun, boom, boom. Yeah, I threw a block. So he threw a punch. I blocked it. That stings his hand. Now I can come back with an extension, which will tear the rest of him up. Let's say he doesn't do that. Let's say he throws a foot. Boom. And now I go for the gut. Let's say he throws a foot, I block it, and he steps back. So now I have to drive in. He's in pain, so he's got to drive in. However, adrenaline is a thing. I know you guys weren't expecting me to say that, but adrenaline is a thing. I may have smashed his leg. He may not have felt that shit. He may advance at me. So, boom, he's advancing. Boom, boom. I can do that. Boom, bam. I can do that. Boom. I can sidestep. Clack. Block. Boom. Now I throw an elbow with the tapa attached to it. You know. Now I'm back in this position. So I can boom. Yeah, that was pretty cool, right? So, like I said, boom. I threw an elbow. Boom. Now I got these two over here. Kapow. You know, double whammy. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do with a tapa that you can't do with a kama. There's a lot of things you can do with a kama that you can't do with a tapa. But since these are actually practice kamas, I can simulate the tapas. And it's pretty much the same training, you know, because the thing that we're not teaching you in martial arts is that most of the moves are super similar, alright? Super similar. I'm going to tell you, probably with the exception of capoeira and lambada, the moves are different there, alright? And those are basically the same shit. But, you know, with capoeira, I don't think you're really going to use tapas, but if you're a capoeira dude and you use tapas, give me a shout out, let me know. If you are a lambada guy and you use tapas, let me know how you incorporate that with your capoeira. Now, I don't know capoeira very well. I know enough to survive, alright? Probably not going to win, but I know enough to survive, which means I'm probably going to win. Because there are certain things about capoeira that you need to understand how to stop capoeira. You cannot let a capoeira expert get going. Period. If they start getting going and they're flaring and stuff, you got a problem. And you have to stop that problem before it gets started. So when they throw their Jenga, you know, you need to be ready. Because this shit comes out of almost nowhere. So you need to be ready for that shit. So I will always suggest that if you're fighting someone with capoeira, hopefully you've learned a little bit of capoeira. But if you haven't learned a little bit of capoeira, hopefully you've learned Drunken Master Kung Fu. And if you don't know that, then what you need to know is common sense to know with the fucking sidestep away from a problem. So if they're coming at you from their Jenga, yeah, they're here, basic front kick, boom, you're going to block that shit because that's what you should do. If you can't block it, you're going to sidestep it and then strike if you got these tamas. Excuse me, tamas. It's tapas. Then you're going to strike. So boom, bam, because I got the fuck out the way. Now, how quickly he recovers is a whole different ballgame. If he's coming up from the Jenga with the basic front kick and you smash it and then crack him, it's more than likely he's probably not going to recover very swiftly. But if you miss because you blocked it and he throws some of this goddamn Matrix layback shit that the fucking capoeira people be doing, you know, you got a problem. So you have to be ready to make sure that you adapt. A lot of people try to foot sweep the fuck out of people, and it's an okay move, but 9 times out of 10, if you're trying to foot sweep a capoeira, he's just gonna fucking back handspring out of the shit, so you're gonna have to fucking deal with that shit. So if you're gonna foot sweep, only do a front foot sweep as low, and then you're ready, you know. Because, you know, he's gonna be doing some kind of acrobatic shit that's just gonna fucking blow your mind. But if you have Thomas, and he does acrobatic shit, try to throw it at him, and keep one, so if you cluck him and connect, you can be there with the other one to end that shit. Now, normally I would tell you that you should never throw your weapon. But now I'm going to tell you, in true life, in true form, fights are situational. If he's doing some serious capoeira shit and you can't handle that shit, you're going to have to make a sacrifice. You have two tonfas. You don't want him to get a hold of it, but you want him to taste it. So if you throw that shit in the direction that you want him to go, and I say he sees it coming, so he does a pancake or a layback and pops back up. When he pops back up, boom, you're going to be where he pops back up at, if you've timed this shit right. And that's the whole thing about fighting. You have to fucking be able to adapt. If he's coming at you and you decide you want to do an inside to outside crescent kick going to the left, boom, boom, and you set him up so that you can do that. If you want to do an outside to inside from the left to send him to the right. He's coming at you, boom, bam, you set him up. So you want to make sure that you set him into the place where you have control of the fight. Always remember, no matter what the situation is, you want your enemy to walk into your trap. Like the spider and the fly, you want the fly to land in your web so that you have full and total dominated control over the situation. Because if you don't, and the fly gets away, the fly can come back to annoy your ass another day. Okay? Now I hope in all the videos that I've showed you that I've taught you something, that I've made your life worth living, and I'm going to post them. But we are going to have one more video before I do that, and before I pass out, I need to get something to drink, because I think my sugar's dropping, and I feel a little faint. But anyway, that being said, this is Kung Fu Havoc number 2. I'm going to pop out some apple juice really quickly, and then I'm going to do my last video until Monologue Monday. If that happens tonight, I will let you know. If it doesn't happen tonight, I will let you know. Thanks for watching. It's Kung Fu Havoc number 2. BC and